Wow, here we are, a year later into the pandemic. Did we think we were going to survive? I thought we would, but I thought there was going to be a hell of a lot more fallout than there actually was. So this is going to be a special session today. You're already getting to see some of our favorite faces, members of the Brain Trust. I'm going to pull up the screen just for a moment here. We do have Aaron joining us today. Aaron, if you want to say hello, you're welcome to. I have to mute myself. Okay.
We're in the same room today, everyone. Welcome. Super excited to be here. And thanks to all of our amazing panelists. I'm off mute.
Oh, okay. Okay, so staying light a little bit more. So some of the favorite phrases from 2020 and 21. Number one, I think you're on mute. It's become such a popular phrase that there's actually a cottage market built around this. You can buy cups, you can buy shirts, you can do all sorts of things. Other common phrases were, well, PPP. You know, a year ago, if you would have said PPP, they would have looked at you like, you know, you need the restroom or something like that. PPPs become part of our vocabulary here. Other top phrases: unprecedented times, flexible working policy, new normal. That's been a big one. Pivot. Are you able to see my screen? That's another popular one. So on and so forth. So as we get in today, I want to celebrate our Brain Trust, and we have several members of our Brain Trust that are here to share with us today. These are contributors over the last, 38 weeks. Amanda, I think it's appropriate. I think you are our very, very first member of the Brain Trust, and we are going to kick off with you in just a moment. Let me see if we have any housekeeping things here. Yes, the roundtable was going to be 5 weeks. Now we're on week 38. It's been a lifeblood for a lot of us, including me. It keeps me centered. We also have some great sponsors. I don't know if they're with us today, Aura and Vish. We have past recordings of these roundtables in the Plan for Profits portal. If you're signed up for that, it's a body of work. You'll get to hear from the inspiration and wisdom from many people, such as Sam and Amanda and Sue and many of the people that are on this call today. Tons of just special guests throughout the year. Use your 9 grid. We do furnish a 9 grid as part of this. It's a great place to mind map, keep notes, etc. And let me just see here. And during this session, guys, use the chat. Feel free to blow up the chat. Aaron's going to monitor it. Michelle has a conflict today. She might be joining in, but Aaron will be make sure we manage the chat. So anyway, without any further ado, Amanda Hare, let's have you unmute Mike. And how are you this morning?
Doing great. How are you doing?
All right. We can't hear you. You're on mute.
You can't hear. Oh, wait a minute. Can you hear me?
Can we hear her?
We can hear her.
You just can't hear me.
What am I hearing in the background? Hold on here a second. Guys, I have Amanda, 1 second, okay?
Sure thing.
Okay, forgive me there. In my ear, I was hearing videos continue to play from that first video. So it's like, Tom, what's wrong with you? Amanda, let's try this again. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Wonderful. Thanks for having me. And I have my dog locked in my bedroom so we can avoid one of those moments on the video.
All right.
That you just shared.
Yeah, I had about 5 dog moments yesterday alone. And this morning I ran behind because I was chasing my dog throughout our snow full lot today. But anyway, it's a year later and we made it. And I frequently have referred to you when I talk about grow or go. You're definitely in a grow mode. So I never really saw you put the foot on the brake here. Give us a synopsis. We've got so many great guests today. We're going to keep it short and sweet. So some of your big either silver linings or accomplishments over the last year to celebrate.
So I'll tell you, the biggest silver lining was that the pandemic actually gave me and my company a chance to kind of slow down a little bit, refocus, recalibrate, take a look at our leadership, our systems that we had in our leadership. And it just really, I look at the pandemic as a gift, really, because the company overall, the structure of the company is in a better shape today than before the pandemic. So this whole time has just given us the opportunity to set us up for that continued growth strategy that I've had going into the pandemic. And I just have to say, like, going into the pandemic, we had some crazy things happen within the company the year before the pandemic. And it was almost like all of that set us up for the success of the pandemic too. So, I'm just very grateful for everything that we went through during the last year just to get us where we are today. I've got a solid team, just people that are super engaged. We've refocused on all of our systems. And everyone's just super excited for the future too.
I love it. Amanda, I didn't really give you the proper introduction and to let people know who you are, where you're from. So Amanda is the owner and CEO of Bob Steele Salons, 5 locations down in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Amanda also has served for many years as the chair of the 2 to 10 Project, being a partner in crime of mine and one of the original 2 to 10 members. So a client, a friend, and I think it was appropriate to have you kick off. Congratulations on your successes. And I'm going to expect that you're going to have some things coming up in the future that are going to be even more exciting. So
maybe, let's hope, right? And I can't wait for us to actually see each other in person again. Yeah, that's one thing I am super excited about too.
Yeah, who wants to get back to meeting in person again? Anybody? Am I the only one? We had this whole conversation with the hotel. That's right, Lynelle. And Lynelle, you're going to be next, by the way, so you can come off mute. I'll get you in a second here. And I love your green, by the way, greenish blue. It's beautiful. Anyway, I don't even know what I was just saying here. I'm so excited about today. I'm just kind of rambling on. But Amanda, let's, I know what I was going to say. I was on a call with a hotel yesterday, the hotel for 2 to 10. And looking at October dates for 2 to 10, the 4th and 5th of October. It's been a moving target. But anyway, yes, there definitely is a high interest in getting together, in creating community. The 2 business trips I've taken were just awesome this year, and I want more. So Amanda, thank you. And Lynelle, good morning.
Good morning.
You're at your home. What's that?
From sunny San Diego. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. And your name has come up so many different times during the roundtable, but I think this is the first time we've actually going to get you on camera. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Well, and I'm going to draft you to do a full roundtable session. I've been waiting to do that. But for now, I think you have a couple different lenses that you're looking at when you review the last year. First, you have the lens of being the original co-founder of Beauty Changes Lives, the passion behind it. So we have Beauty Changes Lives, and then there's your day job. You are owner of 3 schools. So let's take them first. So first of all, maybe something from Beauty Changes Lives that you want to share.
Yeah, well, Beauty Changes Lives, the whole COVID has inspired people in many different ways. But the first one, many of our donors said, I want to donate more this year, and I want it to go to a COVID relief fund. And actually, Jan Arnold was the first one to come forward with a beautiful gift. And we gave out $256,000 in $1,000 COVID relief gifts or scholarships, whatever you want to call them, to professionals who were really challenged during COVID because, especially in California, we've been on severe lockdown. We also saw new donors with all of the social unrest that has gone on want to dedicate scholarships to people of color, to really lift up new audiences, to really showcase this career for them. So it's really been beautiful in so many ways. The whole momentum behind elevating the careers, the perception, the brand is really been inspirational. And actually, we're about a couple of weeks away from another event where we're really uniting the industry to come forward to identify the opportunities for the future. So it's been beautiful to see the Beauty Changes Lives board, which Tom, you're a part of, really rally during COVID to see opportunities. So I'll stop there before I go into Bellis in case you wanted to add on to that, Tom.
No, I think it's an amazing share, and I think Aaron just put up the link there. And I've been talking about Beauty Changes Lives for, it seems like 2 years now, and being on the board is awesome. We actually have a board meeting today, and I'm so proud of the work. But your leadership's amazing. You're a dynamo. I think that's, and they're looking at Aaron bobbing her head there. We got to spend a lot of time with you out in San Diego, and you're a dynamo. You're a get it done kind of woman, and I love that about you, amongst many other things. Let's talk about your day job,
Okay.
which
and,
is.
yes, we do hope to come back to really showcase all of the work that Beauty Changes Lives does, because we are known as a scholarship foundation, but we've grown so much beyond that. So anyway, with Bellis, obviously the lockdown happened. We have, 800 students in 4 locations. What are we going to do with these students? In 1 week, I loved all your terms up front. We pivoted to 100% online education. And we thought, well, how long is this going to last? A couple of weeks, a month, and now it's been a year. And it has taught us how to collaborate with all of the wonderful salon and spa professionals that we know throughout the entire world, who have provided education. So now we have this library full of all of these 1-hour incredible nuggets of wisdom, of education for our students. We also realized we're really good at this hybrid learning. And we put in 23 applications for all of our programs across all of our campuses to never go back to just 100% on or in classroom. So we will continue to have this modified hybrid learning for our students going into the future. And while none of us love Zoom 100% of the time, we've learned that we can be much more efficient and effective and give them higher levels of education than we've ever been able to in the past. So we're really excited about that. We also have been partnering with international organizations like Cedesco to create new programs that are 100% online. And we're working on a spa management program that will be a 300-hour, very robust, everything from finances to human resources of how to take an esthetician, a massage therapist, or a salon professional through the process of what management really looks like. And so there's so many things that we're working on right now. It's been an inspiration. So I think anyone could look at COVID and say, oh, all the problems. We are looking at all of the opportunities to transform our education, to elevate the opportunities we have for not just our students, but for all of our alumni, our graduates, and the professionals out there. So we're really excited about that.
Awesome. Lynelle, thanks so much for the share. And I'm sure you'll sit in, you get to listen to the other panelists today. So thanks again. And we're going to get you as a normal guest coming up here on your own, and we'll see you this afternoon. So thank you. Quick little virtual applause for Lynelle. Thank you. And Amanda too, by the way, we didn't give it to you. All right. Sue Aarons, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Tom?
You and I had a opportunity to chat a little bit last night, and I always love to have a conversation with you. And just let me give a quick synopsis of Studio B, and you can correct my errors, but you're based out of Fort Collins. How many locations right now? Is it 3?
We have 4 right now, and I'm building my 5th. Open it.
I'm building my 5th. Did you hear that, Sam? I mean, I'm imagining she's like out there with shovels. She's building that location. I love that. You're building. Wow. All right. So that's a little bit new to me. I know you guys are moving fast out there. So Sue, you had some great shares, and I'll kind of lead you along here. We'll take them in bite-sized chunks. First of all, the importance of regular cash flow analysis. Just a quick sentence or two about that.
You got to know where you're at. And I mean, we always did budgets and had our P&Ls and looked at our month and stuff. But once you look at your month, you can't really plan. It's already done. So I think it's so important, and it's a point that you always drove home, and I really appreciated that, is looking at what you have and looking ahead and making adjustments accordingly.
Your next share was, by the way, I don't know if Doug's on with us today, but if he is, hi, Doug. Doug Robinson, also from Studio B, Dry Fly Capital. The next point you got to, near and dear to me and very appropriate for what we're talking about, is collaboration and how we can learn, grow, and support each other, not just in challenging times. Many of us have similar goals and hurdles, and collaborating helps us grow through the challenges quicker, stronger, with more hope. So many resources amongst us, such a wealth of knowledge and inspiration. I'm just looking at this screen right now, which, by the way, for me is a 9 grid. I love that. There's 9 of us on here. And in this particular just group right here, I'm not even considering all the other participants here. We have a massive amount of talent and wisdom. So talk about collaboration a little bit.
I think through the pandemic, it has really helped us all understand that we're not competitors. We're on the same page. We're all fighting for the same thing, and there's enough people to go around. And if we all have more of that mindset and work together, we're all going to get so much further. And it's something that I've often thought for years, but I've been in the industry forever. And 30 years ago, we never would have thought of this. And I am so grateful that it has evolved and that there are so many people that are willing to share, just share what works, because we're all in it together and we're all going in the same place and have the same goals. And, when you do it with others, it's so much more rewarding than when you try to do it alone.
Your fellow Fort Collins, to your point about sharing and not competition, Joe DeAnda says good morning to you from Trios in Fort Collins. The next thing you got to, which doesn't surprise me, was team. You go right into team and empathy and compassion and one-on-one coaching for the whole person. And individuals need to be seen. Team meetings are great, but individual needs to know they're heard, valued, appreciated, an important part of the team. If an individual doesn't hit their goals, the company won't either. We need each person to be successful in all areas of their life, to be proud and supported by the organization. That'll strengthen the culture in the business, and guests want to support a healthy, happy business, take care of their teams. So any comments? A great share. You're welcome to add some color to that.
Well, it's something that is very near and dear to my heart. And you guys know, being a coaching company, I've always been come from the coaching standpoint. And if we don't have each one of our pillars of the team strong, we're only as strong as the weakest link. I mean, you never really know what that means until you know what that means. And so, our coaching focus is on the individual, and it kind of carries over into recruiting a little bit. And recruiting has become a really big topic right now, because I think that a lot of salons are feeling the fallout from the pandemic, and people, every individual going, oh my God, is this really what I want to do? And a lot of people choosing to leave the industry, cut back to 2 days a week, change. And it's a huge shift. And if I hadn't sat down and known one-on-one with those individuals that they're probably not the future of my company, it would have been a lot harder to take. And it's still hard to take. I mean, don't get me wrong. We say don't take it personally, but I love these people. In one case, it was my daughter, and she left the industry, and it's like, oh, that's my heart. But I want my company and our organization and my team to grow together and grow into the future and not be stuck in the past. I don't want to look through the rearview mirror. I want to look forward, and looking forward, it's a different group of people. It really is. And I was able to, there were changes made. There were changes made based on the individual, from the individual making decisions that were best for them. And I respect that. And I appreciate it. And I'm super excited to celebrate the future, because the future's different, and I'm okay with that. I'm excited.
Part of what you and I talked about last night is really about the future and moving on. And I think that your voice is always one of optimism and realism, passion. And I'm so glad you joined us today and you've been on these calls.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate you having me here.
So, thank you, Sue.
Yeah.
Sam, how are you this morning? From New York, I assume you're in New York.
Yeah, I'm here sitting in Holly, and I just bought this new apartment. So we're trying to get the light right. I got the chandelier over me, and I'm trying to find, this is the first time I've done a Zoom from here in this apartment. and there's still boxes and stuff. But yeah, I'm here in New York. When I finish up, I'm going to walk down to Soho and get to work. And like I've been doing every day for, for quite a long time.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. And
Yeah.
in like Grammys, they have multiple platinum winners or whatever. You've been like a multiple contributor on the Roundtable here. We've awarded you with the $1 million light bulb. This will probably have to be the 4th time. So you've been a go-to for us. And one of the things that's been great about you is you provided some inspiration for us. Your share that you had was, we'll get to inspiration in a moment. Let's go through your share. First of all, you talked about expanding your direct-to-consumer relationship. Let's go there first.
Well, right when we started off the shutdown on March 16th, we immediately, that maybe 2 days, realized we couldn't stay in our apartment, mainly Holly and I. And so we started riding the bicycles down. We papered up the windows in the salon because technically we weren't supposed to be there. So we blocked out the windows. It's a 3,900 square foot space, so there's plenty of room. And we started right away figuring out what we could do different, better, and how to generate some revenue. Fortunately, we have multiple revenue streams from other things in our lives, so that's really helpful. But in my mind, the business has to be successful on its own. So we started with color kits, and our retail just went through the roof. We just saw, we had so many incomings from the telephone itself and from online retailing. So we set up a shipping center, which we already had a little bit of room to set up a shipping center with all the tape and all the boxes. And then after about 2 weeks or 3 weeks, Jenna, Noelle, our general manager, became part of our little hiding place pod. And we worked 7 days a week, at least 10, sometimes 15 hours a day, every day. We never missed a single day for 108 days. And we rebuilt the inside of the salon while we were there, which Holly is masterful at. She got me to do even some electrical work, which was small electrical work. And we turned it into a shipping center. And we did a large volume of direct to consumer, and it has continued afterwards. And by the way, I had some early couple of people ask me, you're selling customer your color? I mean, color to your customers? And I said, listen, I'm in a total, I'm asking forgiveness. I'm not asking permission. I have a business to save, employees, payrolls to make, families to feed. So it has been incredible, and customers have been extremely thankful for that.
Yeah.
So that,
I don't know they did you a proper introduction, by the way. All you have to do is Google Sam Brocato and you'll have an afternoon of accomplishments that you'll need to read on. So you're in New York City. The next thing I want to get to relates also a little bit about your story and your situation is that you had 2 locations and you consolidated those into one. So you were on, I forget where the first one is. I know where the, was it Midtown? Where was the second one that you?
Yeah, we started off, matter of fact, it's called Studio B. So,
sounds like you got a lawsuit, Sue.
Yeah, so Sue, I unfortunately, I gave 1,100 cups I had made in January with Studio B, beautiful cups. I gave them to a church for their charity. Otherwise, I would have sent them to you.
But wait, just to be clear, it's Studio B, not BE, right?
No, yeah, just Studio B as in.
You feel better, Sue? All right.
Oh, yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
keep going.
Yeah. So anyway, we decided very quickly, and part of it was because we had 19 months on our lease, and I'm totally about relationships, particularly at this stage of my career, my 48th year, and I'm really about relationships. I want to enjoy myself, have fun, and so I'm trying to contact my landlord, and no offense to people that are under 40, but this guy is a hot shot New York landlord that's, in all the newspapers, and he actually said to me, a guy like you has plenty of money. You should be able to pay your lease. I said, a guy like me runs a business. My business has to have money and it has to pay its lease. And I need you to give me some reduction in my lease or no lease. Well, he said, he basically hung up on me, wouldn't communicate with me. And then on, I think it was April 5th, 7th, or whatever, Jenna was on her job was to watch the news as part of our day. So she constantly fed us the news, and she did many other things. And one day she said, they just passed a law. Well, the law in the state of New York was we could hand our keys back, no personal guarantee. They could keep our deposit and we could walk. So I was 19 months away from asking for a 5+7 year lease with a 5-year kick out on it. And this guy treated me so rudely that I just sent him the keys. I took everything out of the salon, chairs, and all that. I left the shampoo bowls, I left the back bars, all that stuff, so he could restart the business, and left the reception desk. So then I had to take, anybody that knows New York, I had to get with a group of 12 Upper East Side long-term hairdressers and colorists and say to them, you no longer have a home to go back to, but you have the home of San Brocato Salon in Soho. And I will guarantee you 70%, I think 65% of your previous income through January of 2021, if you want to, and you need to come downtown with us. I need to know within 1 week. By that night, all 12 people had let us know that they were moving downtown with us. And as of yesterday, they were smiling and waving and everybody's here. And so all roughly 50 people in the company, we didn't lose a single person. One person moved to Florida and that's it.
Amazing
So, yeah.
accomplishment. And you were so on top of it with your team.
Yeah, and by the way, we are profitable as of through the end of February, and we're down 38%. So our bottom line is they are 38% down.
Would you say that one more time?
So our top line sales are down 38%, but our bottom line is 10.9, I think is year to date, which is, you know, I'm going to take it.
That is a position that, and the repetition was not because I'm hard of hearing, it was for dramatic effect.
I call it shrink and grow rich. I'm learning from Robert how to be a little quicker.
I like that.
Well, if the bottom line is if we think and grow rich and in search of excellence, and that's all you need to know.
Yeah. Well, I've seen that so many different times where down 25, 30%, but profits are up. So gosh, what a big lesson in terms of in a crunch. It's amazing what you can do. Now, PPP didn't hurt, okay? But still, having said that, we're seeing so many of you with scary declines as it relates to revenues, but profitability actually up. So that's awesome.
But Tom, I just want to point out, PPP lives in its own lane.
Mm-hmm.
PPP is like its own business. So my numbers are all about reduction in expenses, fine tuning things, get rid of a lot of course, just amenities were a lot that we quit using.
Yeah.
So,
one of the favorite quotes you had was "fight the fight." That was one that you shared in the very first session, and I love that. I wrote that one down. And any inspiration for the group as we go into we will call the next year here?
Well, first of all, I just want to say I'm honored to be here with this panel of powerful women, and I am a strong believer in the future of women leading us into some much better days. So I mean that with all my heart. I'm honored to be here. I'm personally a huge optimist when it comes to the opportunities in the beauty industry and the chances to grow forward. To hear people say they're growing and adding salons, for me personally, that's up to my management team. I'm not putting my name on the lease anymore because I've done it for 48 years. And I'm at a point where Holly and I want to be able to, like today, sleep in a little bit, you know, and enjoy ourselves. But I will say this, that there is an amazing future, and things are only going to get better. But they're only going to get better because we've just been put through the fire, and we've been purified by the fire of fear, and we've been purified by the fire of loss. And we realize that the most important things are that we are compassionate, that we live in our hope, and that we genuinely give of ourselves. As I've heard many people say, until you carve out some of that stuff that's in the way for you to receive, you really can't fill up and give out. So if you lock up and lock down when things come your way, you're just not going to be able to be a leader that's capable of serving the people that work around you. And that doesn't mean falling on your knees to them. That means standing tall and doing a great job. You know, I've said it a million times, SPR, stimulus, COVID, it happened to us. It's not our fault. It wasn't, systemic. Because it wasn't systemic, it's just like a really bad rainstorm. It broke the ceiling, we got something to fix, but ultimately it was just a bad rainstorm. Racism and the Me Too movement and these things, those are systemic, those are bigger issues. But I really believe that on the other side of what we're working our way through, there's going to be some towering changes that are just going to benefit us all. So the stimulus comes and a lot of people react. I do not like it when people say, well, I reacted well. No. You respond. You go to the P, the pause, you calm down, you stay in the pause as long as it takes you to figure out how to respond. And then you move forward. So it comes from here. It just doesn't come from here. Anger is entitlement. And you can't live in that space. Okay, that's all time.
Let's just bottle up that closing. Nina, how are you going to follow that one? Sam, that's awesome. Thank you
I
very
think I have to
much.
change shirts though. I'm just so uncomfortable in this shirt.
He wore that shirt in my honor. He wore a collared shirt and I showed up with a tee today. So thank you for that. I got to get to New York. Aaron, we need to just go to New York. So I miss seeing you and I miss going to your Soho salon. And
Thanks for having
I
me.
don't know if Jen is on with us today, but say hi to Jen and Holly. And thanks again, Sam, for being such a great contributor. Virtual applause for Sam. Well, hello, Nina.
Hello.
Now, he's got 48 years. I don't know. I'm trying to do the math here, Sam, and I'm still trying to figure out if that's fact or fiction here, but I'll take you for your word in the 48 years. Nina, you're a fresh face for many of us. And, but, you know, another powerhouse based in Pennsylvania, 2 locations. Your 2 locations have different names to them. And I've enjoyed getting to know you and see many of your successes and what have you. So let me share some of your share that you provided, then I'll let you speak to that, okay?
Okay.
So you said you felt you had a good understanding and grasp of the financials, but through the pandemic, your companies have weathered well. Your two salons, each in a different company. Actually had growth in one location the last 2 quarters, and the other location saw a decrease, but it wasn't bad. You've grown in team members and financial knowledge, took the time to learn. I love that one. Took the time to learn everything I possibly could during our shutdown and continued to make sure you manage the financial aspects of the business. You hired a coach in the middle of the pandemic. Sound familiar? Sometimes just need to make an investment to grow yourself in the business, allow you to bring better financial awareness to your team, involve key team members in budgeting and a whole new level that's simple and organized. So you are now welcome to add color and speak to that.
So, you know, first I'd like to say I'm honored to be up here on this panel with all of these amazing people. I don't know how I'm going to follow everybody, but you know, we went through the pandemic, and while it was scary and unknowing and all of that kind of stuff, we just, like, my whole stance on it was to be open and honest and help to guide my team. So we took the time to, you know, keep our team engaged and meet on a regular basis. I also, you know, anything that I learned through, you know, my research, I made them aware of everything that I possibly could for stimulus, for, you know, anything that the government was doing to provide aid. I wanted to pass that along to my team members in case they weren't aware of it. So I think that it built a lot of trust and support both ways, which in turn, we were shut down for 3.5 months, which is, you know, long, but nothing compared to California and some other areas. But at the same time, you know, 3.5 months being closed, our one location, we, you know, didn't lose any team members. We then increased and hired additional team members during the shutdown that started up with us when we reopened, and then continued, you know, recruitment and hiring. We have probably added about 8 additional team members within the last 2 quarters of the year. Our one location was up 44% in Q3 and 38% in Q4. Our other location was down 4% in Q3 and down 31% in Q4, which I think Q4 had a lot to do with increases in COVID cases. So we had, you know, lots of cancellations. We had some team members out for COVID scares. and things along those lines. But one of the biggest things that I learned through, you know, the shutdown and everything else was making sure that our team members had a voice. You know, you talk to your team members, and a lot of times they're not willing to necessarily speak up in person. They're also not necessarily willing to speak up in a group environment either. So you have team meetings and you ask people, you know, advice or, you know, their thoughts on it. They're not necessarily going to do that. So one of the things that I would say, biggest thing that we incorporated was the use of SurveyMonkey. And we could send out surveys to our team to get feedback, and it could be anonymous. Sometimes we would have to include names because we would need to be able to like guide them with certain things. But it allowed us to learn and be able to grow the company. And it helps, I feel like, with recruitment. And I mean, my team is happy. You know, we have, I would say, you know, winter time, usually there's like the winter blues and everybody kind of gets like down, and you get a little bit of, you know, drama thrown around here and there and all that kind of stuff. But I would say everybody went through it pretty well. And now it's starting to get bright and sunny out in PA. It's still a little bit cold here, but it's sunny, and, you know, my team's coming around with it, and, you know, looking forward to some growth this year, and, you know, maybe a third location at some point.
Okay, there you go. Maybe a third location. Nina, thanks so much. You've really been a great leader with your team, and you know, you're a very passionate person, and we love that about you. And I think that over the years we're going to be hearing more about Nina. So you know, you're a rising star leader, along with the next person we're going to talk to, which is Christine. But Nina, thanks again. Let's give her a virtual applause, and we'll have you back as a guest. Well, Christine, how are you? You're in the actual center of my 9 grid here. I don't know where everybody else's populates, but you're down in Texas, right?
I am, yes. Grapevine, right in Dallas, Fort Worth area.
So one location, I think you've got your collaborators on the call. I think is Lisa Justice, she's on with us. Good morning, Lisa. So tell us just a little bit about your business.
Yeah, so I am not an owner. I'm a manager. I kind of get to wear a multitude of hats, but it's a single location here in Grapevine, Texas. I get to play a role in the front desk piece, so the guest care, front desk support, and then I've got the opportunity to dig into the business development side of things, and then the financial piece. So we, you know, pre-COVID, we definitely were really interested in opening up a second salon, where the current location was at that time was really launching us into being able to open up a second one. But with COVID and how it's affected everything, it's been a really positive effect, but it's allowed us to really dig into this one single location, and dig into the new team that we have. So it's super exciting. It's got 2 owners, Lisa, who you mentioned, Lisa Justice, she's on the call. I don't know if Candace is, but Candace Hammett's the other one. They're truly 2 of the most incredible leaders. So
Candace is on. So nice shout out to you too, Candace and Lisa. So some of the things that you mentioned, and one of the reasons that we developed a relationship, you know, with you and your company and you personally, is it's really great to see people that are very grounded in the finance function, because I think it's really important for the industry. And that was something I saw in you, to be part of maybe one of our emerging leaders groups, because you know, you have a passion for the finance part of the business, but you have this sensibility and understand the importance of culture in the salons. A couple of your shares: having quick speed at which business can be assessed and analyzed in its financial state. This comes from so much more awareness, practice, and great systems, not at all related with being a financial whiz. So anything you want to speak to with that?
yeah, I mean, honestly, when it comes to the financial piece, that is a huge part of my heart. I went to school for finance, so I know I'm more ingrained into it than a lot of people on this call, and that is okay. But what we have seen is just being able to simplify it in a way that allows for it to be analyzed on like a weekly basis, if not a daily basis, has been so effective. And it really does come with the simplification piece, finding what systems and practices work well To Susan's point, you know, cash flow management, that has always been super important, but especially during this time, knowing where you're at, you really can't make much decision without knowing where you're at. And you can't really make calculated decisions if you don't know where you're at. So it's all about really finding the practices that work well. And we've been in a fortunate position to where I have been able to stay on top of that on a weekly basis. And so you've got the piece of the financial, just health of a business, but then the other piece is just the data analytics of it and being able to tell what story it's saying regarding the team. And that way we can dig into what the team is needing, and really giving the focus to where the business needs it. And it's been so tremendously helpful just looking at it on a much quicker basis for a lot of the decisions that we've had to make up until this point.
You have a nice little soundbite in here that I want to quote, okay? You said, COVID might be contagious, but enthusiasm and team bonding are even more so. That's a good one. Sounds like something Sam would say. That's good. I like that. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes, that's been something really. So when we opened back up, we were closed for 2 full months. And when we opened back up, we ended up losing a lot of the team that we called the OGs, the original ones. They were our senior team, and most of them transitioned out to go do leasing opportunities. And that was a major shift. I mean, it was definitely took us a step back just to analyze and figure out how to navigate through that. And so from that, you know, there's this weird kind of, you have to navigate the emotional piece of that with the team and being able to keep everyone enthusiastic. And then you put COVID on top of it, and you have no choice but to just kind of navigate some sense of just emotional and sometimes negative impact from that. But the silver lining to it is that the team we have now is just tenfold, so much more enthusiastic with what all the change that has happened. And that was the second point I had brought up, was the power of change. And that's what led me to that commentary of COVID being contagious, but enthusiasm being more so, because this was just recently, 2021, where we changed total product lines, color lines, everything has switched over. And that was a surprise. And having to do so as quickly as we did, we were open to changing things, but it resulted in being more immediate than we anticipated. But our team has rallied around that in a way that we knew they would, but to the degree in which they have, we did not anticipate, or I certainly did not anticipate, because it's hard. I mean, it's been working 2+ full weeks when they're used to getting the weekends off, and they're having to reformulate everything and learn new product and educate on new products. And the enthusiasm has seriously just taken over the salon. There's a team bonding that has yet to happen because everyone's now on the same playing field, and everyone gets to be together going through the same thing and something new hard. It's really, really exciting. It's definitely a grow mode. That is for sure.
It's nice that Lisa's middle name is Silver Lining. Lisa does not know anything other than optimism, right, Lisa? I'm sure I'll get a comment about that. Christine, yeah, Christine, before we leave you, you also had, this was also a year for nuptials for you, correct? So
Yeah.
you got your COVID marriage.
I am, surprisingly.
Sure does that sound okay, everybody? COVID marriage? I mean, congratulations. So you fit that in there too, huh?
Yeah, I'm surprised it still happened, but June of last year. So it's been a super exciting year.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us again. Let's give a virtual round of applause for Christine. And thanks for joining us. All right, Carla, good morning from sunny California. We've got 2 Californians on here, you and 2 San Diego. Carla, glad you could join us. How are you this morning?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. So you're with Gila Root, and you are formerly known as 3 locations and now known as 2 locations. And that's maybe part of your share. But anyway, you've got a great business. I've known you for years. You're smart, you're talented, you've got a great partner in Carrie. And some of the things that you shared relates to, being closed. Oh my gosh, when I see this on paper, I'm like, holy shit, closed 6 out of a 12-month period. And you still are in business. How the hell does someone stay in business being closed for 6 months? Really?
You know, with a lot of strategy, I think, and definitely optimism. I do have to say we have an amazing team. I mean, from our leadership team to our stylists and even our new hires. We actually hired people along the way in every one of our shutdowns. So as you know, we were shut down 3 times. And 6 months out of 12 months, like you said, when you hear it and you see it on paper, it's shocking. But we're still here. And I think part of that is just having a strong financial knowledge around what we have and what can we do with what we do have. Carrie and I immediately, the minute, like a lot of you guys, the minute we knew we were shut down, we started calling all our creditors and saying, okay, here's our situation. What can we do? And I think that we were really in front of the game with making sure that we could have all our cash flow in access. So I think that's definitely part of it. But it's been an interesting year for all of us, right?
Yeah, and you would say closing your 3rd location strengthened you. Speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have, like you said, we had, as of 2019, I'm trying to remember old dates, but we had 3 locations, and 1 location has been open 29 years. The 2nd location has been open 16. And then the 3rd location was open for 7. So the 7-year-old was the one that we closed. It was a lot of factors, but I think is one of those things that COVID really brought them up to surface even stronger. And we were able to negotiate the lease with our landlord and move out of there. The other really cool thing about it is that we were able to rehome those stylists from that location. So we actually were able to bring them into the other 2 locations. So no one was permanently laid off. And that actually made our other 2 locations stronger because we were able to bring in more people with already in our culture, already with our training, but bring them into the locations that are thriving. So it was definitely a silver lining. Hard in the moment, but now looking back, it was definitely the best decision.
Yeah, I think that you guys were on top of it right at the beginning, and I totally saw that, and probably scared, like the rest of us, and you made some really good decisions. And again, let's just highlight that for these California businesses being closed 6 out of 12 months is huge. That alone is a huge accomplishment. So Carla, thank you for joining us. Send my love and best to Carrie. And guys, let's give Carla a virtual round of applause.
Tom, if I may, I couldn't miss this opportunity to say thank you and Aaron and the Qnity team, because I think that this was definitely a ray of hope in the darkness right from the beginning. I mean, I looked forward to your videos. I think that it gave me a lot of grounding because you guys came from a lot of concern and bringing clarity into all of the craziness of information we were getting thrown at us, with the PPP and, all of the financial pieces. And so, I don't know how many times I shared them to everyone that I knew. And I just want you to know that it was definitely appreciated. And that's part of the reason why I continue to show up every week, because I know that your knowledge and your intention and your wisdom is so amazing. And so thank you so much for that. And thank you for today, which has been amazing, hearing everybody's stories and inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. I'm actually blushing. So now we have red to match my green today. So now I'm in Christmas colors. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. All right. Luisa, you were able to join us. And Luisa Garcia, let's make sure we got sound there. Good morning, Luisa.
Good morning. It's so nice to see you all.
All right. Are you in New Hampshire or are you in Italy?
I'm in New Hampshire.
Okay. I mentioned, so 1 location, New Hampshire, owned by Luisa, who moved here from Puerto Rico. How many years ago was it?
27.
Gosh, 27 years. And it wasn't actually very easy for you to open up your business. And what you've created is incredible. Now, I mentioned Italy because many times during the roundtable, you called in from Italy. And I think it was like 11 o'clock or night or something like that. And the thing that just blew me away is how you were actually running your business from Italy. You were doing virtual desk.
Yes.
You hired more people from Italy than many people I know here hired being on US ground. So a big shout out to you. It was very inspiring. You've got a lot of different things here. Let's distill them down here. I'm looking at the clock. Accomplishment, practicing what you learned about financials for your business. If you have this structure, you can save yourself and your business. You've been a big practitioner of our Tuesday transfer program, so it allowed you to put away a bunch of money. You also celebrated closing, creating color kits, not touched what you saved, and it allows you to pay for 3 months of rents and utilities. So speak to that for a little bit.
Yes. So good afternoon, good morning, everybody. In terms of when the pandemic hit, I did have that Tuesday transfer already saved, but I sat down and I said, should I touch that, or should I help my guests? Or should I just do something to bring more income to the salon? I was just in a state of shock, wasn't expecting like everybody else. So as soon as that happened, I just created a color kit that allows me to pay 3 months of the rent and also my utilities as well.
It's amazing. You lost 4 stylists, a nail tech, and an esthetician, and 2 massage therapists, but you gained 3 massage therapists, 2 esthetician, and 4 stylists with a complete transformation. That's amazing.
Yes. So after we opened the salon, reopened the salon, we lost four top stylists to the rental chairs. And I was like, and now what? I was still in Italy. My bookkeeper said, are you coming back to stop the bleeding? And I said, no, I'm going to stop the bleeding from here. Don't worry about it. So that's when I started, hiring from there, Zoom calls, making sure I trained them from where I was, because at that point it was a shutdown. I couldn't take a plane and come back home. So it was no choice for me only to just become creative and just start training from over there.
You surrendered what you couldn't control. You said, think about your well-being and health as a boss because no one else will. I want to repeat that one. Think about your well-being and health as a boss because no one else will.
No one else. No one else.
I think that's, let everything unfold without focus on the negative because we're all in the same boat. Instead, you kept looking ahead, what's next without losing hope, and continue to educate yourself in a new life and new business. Greatest lesson. Great lessons for all of us. Anything else that you want to share before we wrap up? I have a few more other shares I want to get to, but I want to make sure that we get to hear your voice a little more.
I think basically being part of this community have allowed me to learn so much, especially like I said, I'm just in the profit and loss and the Tuesday transfer. I will encourage everybody, if you haven't taken profit and loss, the profit curriculum from Qnity, please do so, because when the pandemic hit, it was a shock to me. When I sat down, I breathed, and I was like, you're going to be okay because you have these savings in there. And also take care of yourself as a leader, because when the staff, we give so much to our staff, but when the staff decided to leave, they leave you without looking back. So it's something from the heart that I learned, and I will definitely give it to you, this wisdom. Just think about yourself first, and then your business too. It was a pleasure.
Give a virtual round of applause for Luisa.
Thank you.
Thank you, Luisa, and thanks for joining us today. One of the things when I read Luisa's share, I have something to share with all of you in terms of some terminology, something I learned very early in my career, being part of a program called the Strategic Coach. I learned something called the Strategic Byproduct. It's a good thing to write down, Strategic Byproduct. And that is that usually when you go after something really, really big, or in a really, really big situation, getting through it and achieving the goal for the project is of course the aim. But in certain cases, the byproducts that come out of it are actually greater than the actual goal. Let me give you an example. The first mission to the moon, which was way back a long time ago, it was a vision. And it was by the end of the decade, we were going to get to the moon. And in order to, it was almost an impossible feat. And there's so many things that had to be created. And I don't know if you know this, but it really was that first mission to the moon that resulted in the invention of microchips, Velcro, freeze-dried food, and there's a whole list of other things that come out of it. So we've heard some great strategic byproducts from our panelists today of things that have come out of the pandemic. And I wanted to share that with you. We had some other shares that came from Marilyn Iloff. It came from Megan Jasper, from Barry Matthews, Chris Murphy. In the interest of time, I think we will save that for a future week. I do have some final comments here. And I also want to give a shout out to people. Don't leave yet if you guys can stay just about 3 more minutes. The SBA released 2 days ago good news for recipients of the EIDL loans. For those who received an EIDL loan in the calendar year 2020, the first payment is now due 24 months after the initial loan date instead of 12 months. So for those of you that received an EIDL loan during calendar year 2021, the first payment will now be 18 months after the loan date instead of 12. Remember, while there's no payments, interest will still accrue and borrowers have the option to start making their payments earlier. So anyway, I wanted to share that news with you. I'm going to turn it over to Aaron in a moment. I feel like there's so many people I want to call out. I normally, Ben's with us today. Hi, Ben. What the hell? I'm going to go through Anna, Andrea. You haven't joined us much. It's good to see you. Hi, Angela, Ashley, Candace. Good morning, Christine Griffith and Connie. Darren Peterson, a special welcome to you from down in Texas. I'm so glad you joined us today. Good morning, Diane Keller and Jackie Scholl. Interesting day for you guys today, a very good day. James Griffith, good morning. Jan and Jama and Jessica. Hi, Jessica R. Good morning, glad you joined us. Kip, I've got to get you on here one of these days. Good morning, Leslie and Linda and Lisa J and Michelle S. Philip Gould, good morning. Rebecca, good morning. Robert Cormians, how are you? I've seen you've been active in the chat. I've got to read what you put. Sadie, I've known you for many years. You're here in the Twin Cities. Thanks for joining us. Sheila from Intercofier. Hello, Sheila. We had a nice chat yesterday. Terry McKee, Tim Belcher joined us. Hi, Tim. Good morning, Tony Gordon. How the heck are you? Tracy, how are you, Tracy? Trent was our guest last week. Con, sending love down to California. Good morning, Victoria and Wendy. Now, let's just see here. Aaron, I think you've got some things to share with the group here, so I better go on mute and share my screen. Okay.
Thank you so much, everyone. I'll keep this brief because I know we're slightly over, but I just wanted to share that so many of the people on the panelists today, many of you are actually Qnity in Action clients. So Nina, Christine, Louisa, I've got to scroll through here. Sue, you're going to be starting with us. Amanda, you've done it. So I did want to make sure, some of the people that have mentioned on this call that getting a coach is ultimately one of the most important decisions people have made. So if you're interested in the Qnity in Action program, this really allows you to work with one of our coaches and implement Qnity's systems and tools from the top down. We've also got many Qnity in Action clients as participants like Michelle. So here's just a few stories from them, and you can always reach out to them directly to hear their experience. Nina, here's a quote from Nina. So if you're interested in that, please do schedule some time with us. We would love to support you on a deeper level, on a more frequent level. Here's one from Tony. Tony's always a tough sell, guys, by the way. So if you guys know Tony. And then, of course, Louisa. So Tom will put up on a screen here, and I'll send my calendar link if you just want more information. We have an amazing coaching team. If you want to go back to that, Tom, really briefly. We've got Carrie Perkins as our lead coach, Heath Smith, who many of you know, and Jody Ohama. They can all help you implement the Qnity tools. And really the best way of starting it is just booking a complimentary session with me directly. I'll walk you through our 5 functions methodology. And if you're interested, I can give you next steps. So I will put my calendar link in the chat screen and you can go there. And one other thing that we've wanted to point out, it's actually really amazing how many calls we've gotten of people actually actually calling us thinking they want to go, right? We've had several calls that called us and say, I'm ready to go, help me exit, help me sell my business. And then with a little support and working with Tom through Grow or Go, they actually just see some tweaks that they need to be made just to reposition, right? So it's not always time to throw in the towel. You just sometimes might need support. So if you're considering that, or if you want to do a more direct and formal transition, we've got many accounts that are doing that, transitioning to key team members. You can work with Tom as well. So I will post my calendar link, and if you've got any questions, let me know.
Aaron, thank you. Let's give a virtual round of applause for our panelists today. Once again, thanks to all of you, Sue, Sam, Nina, Christine, Louisa, Amanda, and Carla. We will be on next week. I'm not sure who the guest is going to be next week. Oh, Lynelle, did I shout out to Lynelle also? So thanks for you guys. Thanks. Let's celebrate the next year. Hope and action was the theme, and I think that hope has gotten us through, and action is going to allow us to go to the next level. So thanks to all of you guys. Let's call it a wrap, and we'll see you next week for week 39. Bye now.